Hey everybody, it's me Andy,
And I'm Sean.
and this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, the $1 store.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this week on YouTube. You guys know what to do to help us out. Hit subscribe, really does a lot. Leave some comments, that's always great. Or if you want to go that extra mile, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/commandersbrew. Help us make these decks, get into the Discord, start suggesting cards and stuff. We have a great time in there every week. So come check us out, patreon.com/commandersbrew to get involved. Otherwise, let's just get into today's deck tech. Sean, what do we got going?
Today's deck tech, this is something that I was inspired to. I just put some ideas to our Discord a while ago. We teased in the audio version, the Theros set review came upon us. The end of the year came upon us. This deck has been kind of in the cooker for a little while, but I call it the $1 store. The inspiration was, how much could we do for 1 mana? We know that with green, there's tons of 1 mana effects that tutor up lands. In blue, there's tons of 1 mana cantrip kind of things. And part of the inspiration, although this part got cut, I thought, could you get away with running a bunch of syncopates, like making people pay an extra 1? Like, what a burn in Commander. Ooh. If someone taps out for a huge X spell and is like, do you have one more?
A lot of those tapping wizards do that.
It's true. But it strayed from there, and we kind of got more onto cheap stuff in large quantities. That's what this dollar store is all about. And our specialty at this $1 store is pinging for 1. Oh. That's the one that we use a lot. So we are a Temur deck. Our commanders are Kaidel, chosen of Crewfix, 2 green blue, human wizard, 2/3, and you get to add colorless to your mana pool for each card you've drawn this turn. And she has partner, and we're partnering with Ludovic, Necroalchemist, 1 blue red, human wizard for a 1/4. And at the beginning of each player's end step, that player may draw a card if a player other than me, the owner/controller of Ludovic, lost life this turn. So it's confusing, but so everybody has an opportunity to get an extra card on their turn. The condition for everybody to get an extra card on their turn is that someone got hurt who is not me, Sean.
The person who made... Like, if you hurt yourself, you get to draw a card.
Well, but it has to be other than me. Oh, if you mean
I mean
like
me, yes. Your opponent. Yeah.
Yes, if you play like a fetch land and pay life for it, you will get to draw a card. But the great thing about pingers is that I will always get 1 on my turn with a pinger out. I can just do 1 to someone's face, even if I don't have any good attacks.
Ludovic wins the award for card I have to read the most in Commander.
It's general. Confusing. Just because it's confusing.
It's like it's a simple idea, but just the fact that it's like, okay, me, I have what? Who has to get hurt? Yeah. And Kaidel, of course, just straight up, pretty simple mana tap in, colorless lands, colorless mana rather. Yeah, very cool. So,
both of these cards play big roles in the deck, which is great. I love it when the partners work out that way.
Yeah, great. All right, perfect.
So that's kind of what we're all about. So do you want to come into the $1 store and I can show you all my wares, aka neat moves.
Working on a neat moves. Okay, well, I mean, I see, stepping into the $1 store, I see a lot of cheap stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cheap stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then how can we get this stuff so cheap? How are we, the dollar store, able to get stuff so cheap? With the help of Baral, Chief of Compliance, 1 a blue, human wizard for a 1/3, making all our instants and sorceries 1 less to cast. If we happen to counter a spell, we get to loot. That's pretty cool. We've also got a Goblin Electromancer, making our instants and sorceries 1 cheaper. That's great. And if that wasn't enough, we've got a Primal Amulet, 4 mana for an artifact, making instants and sorceries 1 cheaper. But this is a short-term deal because every time we cast an instant or sorcery, we put a charge counter on Primal Amulet. And if we get 4 counters, we may remove those counters and transform it. I never noticed the may before. Oh. You never have to transform it.
Cool.
Huh. So if you want, in my mind, we had to lose the discount, but I guess you don't. But if we do flip it, we usually want to flip it. It's Primal Wellspring. It taps for a mana of any color. And if we cast an instant or sorcery with that, we will copy the spell. Copying things, knockoffs, that's what a dollar store is good for too. So we got cheap stuff
true.
and we got copies for you. No problem.
You know what? I'm pretty sure a lot of this merchandise I'm seeing here is bootlegged. I think that a lot of this is like straight up not allowed to be created. I need to speak to a manager.
Oh, do you want to speak to a manager? We have a few managers. Which manager do you want to speak to?
You know, first I'd like to speak to Runaway Steamkin.
Yes, he's our store manager.
He's store manager, 1 in a red for a 1/1 creature elemental. Whenever you cast a red spell, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on Runaway Steamkin. And then you can remove 3 +1/+1 counters and add red, red, red. So you build up those counters, and then you take them off and you use them, and then you keep going. If you played in standard, you know, like last year, you probably saw this card a lot. Another manager.
Thanks to Jamon for bringing this up as a recommendation for our inventory manager.
Oh, love it. Yes. And yeah, that's right. Another manager that I would be willing to speak to is Will Breaker. 3 blue for the human wizard, 2/3. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes a target of a spell or ability you control, gain control of that creature for as long as you control Will Breaker. This one.
So with pingers, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's really good. Raffi of the Many with this suggestion, a hot one. And finally, you know, if it all comes down to it, I want to speak to the overall.
If we keep escalating,
yeah,
if you want to keep escalating these concerns,
I need to speak to your manager now.
Okay.
Your manager.
Well,
and
that
then
would
we
be
will get to Mystic Remora.
Yeah.
Who's not even a creature. But arguably should be.
Yeah.
Single blue for the enchantment with a cumulative upkeep of 1. And whenever an opponent plays a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 4 generic mana. No one ever does that. This is a very excellent source of card advantage, especially early in the games.
Yeah.
You kind of sacrifice a little bit of like building out your board for it when this happens.
If you do it early, yeah.
If you do it early. So it might not always be the best early play, but certainly at some point in the game. Like the thing is, the great thing about Mystic Remora is that even later in the game, it's fine. It's just that the turns don't come as quickly then. So, but the spells do. So yeah. There's a nice trade off there. So even late, this card is great.
I like that it costs 1 mana and the upkeep's 1. It's very thematic with our $1 store.
Is, yeah. I mean that's a cumulative upkeep, so that does change.
Yes, it does change, but it will always have a CMC of 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk to the managers. We have your complaint. If you want to have a complaint, we have them registered. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about like the main aisle of the store, which is the pingers. That's our specialty. So a couple I want to highlight are Volshock Sorcerer, 1 red for a haste 1/1. Haste is great on a pinger. You can tap to do 1 damage anywhere. Haste is so great because your opponents, you know, they can counter it. I mean, they can see it coming by virtue of it being on the stack, but when they don't have haste, it goes around the table one time and they can do a lot of thinking about it before it comes around. It's a nice surprise that way. We're also running the Cunning Spark Mage. Same deal. Easier mana cost in that it's 2 in a red, haste, but it's a 0/1 body instead of a 1/1, but also 1 damage to any target. And a new addition from Eldraine, Sir Kara the Bold. Most expensive pinger in the deck, chief among the pingers. 3 red, human knight 3/3. Whenever Sir Kara the Bold or an instant or sorcery you control deals damage to a player, exile the top card of your library and you may play that card this turn. And she deals 1 damage to any target. So we do have quite a few instant or sorceries that also deal damage. So she can get extra damage not only from her own pinging, but this is a nice way to get extra access to more cards.
This is great. Sir Kara is a really great addition to these decks. Like, I know there's some other types of pinger decks out there too, and this must just be amazing. Tapping and untapping her and essentially drawing cards with her. That's really good.
So that's the red aisle. Would you like to take a look at the green aisle?
Yeah, I'm more of a green aisle type, so I'd like to check out. Do you have any Quest for renewals?
Yes, we do.
Oh, great. Here it is. 1 in a green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you can put a quest counter on it. And as long as there are 4 or more quest counters, you untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. This is essentially a Windborn Muse on an enchantment that you have to do a little bit of
Seedborn
work.
Muse.
Sorry, Seedborn Muse. You're right. Windborn
Yeah.
is the white one. Seedborn Muse. So it untaps your stuff on other people's untap step. It's cheaper. It's an enchantment, but you got to do a little work to get there. I mean, it's pretty like easy work because you are obviously building around this sort of idea, right? So this is going to work out, especially in this deck. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
How much is this card, by the way?
It is $1.25.
Not bad.
$1.25.
$1.25. Ranging Rafters is also here in this aisle, which we love. 2 and a green for the 2/3 dinosaur with Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, shuffle your library. Love this in a pinger deck. Oh man, this is good.
Yeah, because you know how imagine this plus a full up quest for renewal means I can do 2. I mean, as long as I have 2 pingers, but I am expected to do 2 to this. It'll heal every player's turn, and I'll get 2 lands on your turn, 2 lands on your turn, 2 lands on your turn. Now it's my turn again. I got 6 more lands there. That's the dream.
Awesome. And finally in the green aisle, Ripjaw Raptor. Gotta have this guy. 2 green for the dinosaur, 4/5 with Enrage. Whenever it gets hit, you draw a card. Perfect.
Great green owl. That's the green owl.
Great green.
One thing we didn't, we've been reviewing your complaint, but we are serious about all issues at the $1 store.
Good, excellent.
And we handed it over to the CEO of the entire company.
Wow, the CEO.
The president of the company, Torbran, Thane of Redfell. 1, red, Dwarf Noble, 2/4. If a red source you control deals damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much +2. Turns all of our pingers into 2. It's extra into lightning bolts. We can just fling lightning bolts everywhere.
I can just picture in the board meetings, just sitting around talking to Torbran. Okay, well, you have our staff. You have our discounts. I ruined that. You have our staff. You have our stores, and you have my discounts.
Yes. I love it.
I ruined the joke. It's fine.
I mean, I think it's great. I still didn't see it coming. It's great. So yeah, as the president of the company, all this stuff. I mean, I don't think I mentioned it, but we do run the there's just so many ways this helps us out. Not only with all of our pingers, we've also got Ral Zarek, the rare from War of the Spark. So whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery, he deals a damage to a player.
Right.
But with Torbran, he's dealing 3 damage because he's a red source. He's red and blue.
Right.
So there's so many incidental ways this pops up. And Torbran's office the head office is at the Quest for Pure Flame. 1 red, it's a 1 mana spell. It's an enchantment. Whenever a source you control deals damage to an opponent, very easy for this deck, you may put a quest counter on Quest for Pure Flame, and you get to remove 4 counters and sacrifice the quest. Any source you control that deals damage to a creature or player this turn does double instead. So this is going to double our damage. So with Torbran, now I had to look up the rules. We had a deck with red in it with using Torbran 2. If you're ever doubling with Torbran, these are 2 replacement effects, and your opponent, the person who's they get to stack them in the order they want. They're the one taking the damage, so they can stack the doubling of the 1, then the +2. So we don't get to.
Torbran's won't add 4.
It won't add 4, so it'll be like. It will become 4. A 1 becomes a 4 with Quest for Pure Flame.
Right.
And Torbran.
Okay, well, you can't have it all, I guess.
Yep.
I was digging around in the company files.
Those you shouldn't have had access to those. I don't know where you got those.
And I discovered...
We should be shredding our dumpsters.
You should be, because I found a business plan for like a takeover style corporate dominance a la Walmart.
No.
Yes, I did.
Whatever you don't tell anyone about it.
It starts with 1,000-Year Storm. 1,000-Year Storm?
It's a long-term plan. We
Yeah.
got a long-term plan.
Oh, yeah, it must be. 4 blue-red for the enchantment. That's whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast before this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. This is one of my favorite cards that's come out recently.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just go in Storm decks. It creates Storm decks, right? Obviously, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't have to... There's, like... Other than including instants and sorceries that do stuff, there's you don't have to build it with Storm in mind. They become their own Storm spells. It's really fun. We've done a couple of decks with this card now, and this is no exception. This one's great. Fits right in.
So, and I mean, we're not going to highlight all of them, but there's like the one theme I told you, we had all those single green cards that tutor up lands. Those are great ones to pump up Thousand Year Storm. Runaway Steamkin, if we can keep casting red spells, for example, like Faithless Looting, we get to flash that back. We've got plenty of flashback spells, and because we're getting discounts on these spells, we can often flash them back for 1 as well. So we can get our storm count pretty high with this. I'm looking at a Treasure Cruise with full delve, so I can pay 1 blue to draw 3, maybe copy that 3 or 4 times if that's later to get me deeper, get me more access to what I want. It's great.
This card gets wild. You include some little things like some preordains and like,
yeah,
any of those like 1 mana cantrip style things. They just become they just get out of control with Thousand Year Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that cantrips. Great. Yeah. Oh, you have the lightning bolt in here.
Well, so yeah, right? So this is the overtake. This is the plan to take over. Yeah, so once we get a bunch of spells, we're gonna cast an insult to injury. The insult side has to be from your hand, and it's 2 and a red sorcery. Damage can't be prevented this turn, and if a source you control deals damage, it deals double. If we've got that stormed, we can copy that. I mentioned Ral Zarek, the rare from War of the Spark. I forget his full official title. His -2 is to copy the next spell, so we can just use him to copy insult. And if we've got a few triggers on Thousand Year Storm, we could be double, quadruple, 8-tuple, 16-tuple. We can get, and if we crack our quest for Pure Flame, add another double on top of that if it's available. Now our pingers are hitting for like 16 apiece, and the dream win is we have a single lightning bolt, which I'm hoping to copy multiple times, where each one does 8 or 16 or maybe 32. I don't know.
Crazy. I believe it's Ral Storm Conduit.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
2 blue-red. I'll just read it because we keep mentioning it.
Sure.
4 loyalty, legendary planeswalker Ral. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, so the copy thing is really key here.
Yeah.
Ral deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. +2, scry 1, and his -2 is when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, you copy it. You can choose your targets. Awesome card for these types of decks. Really, really good. Yeah, this was very, very cool. I'm loving any type of deck that wants to lean into Thousand Year Storm. We did Casualties of a Thousand Year Storm, which is just trying to copy Casualties of War as many times as you can, which is just decimating your opponent's boards. That deck worked out really fun. Included some Cascade as well. Cascade gets absolutely bonkers with these cards. So.
Oh, I don't think I have any Cascade in here, but yeah, I think I'm on the border of whether it stays in or out. But I love the idea of Grape Shot, that storm sorcery that does 1 damage somewhere.
Yeah.
But if I can kill people with a Grape Shot, that seems pretty nice.
That's an achievement unlocked for Commander, certainly.
Yeah.
You can storm that high.
Yeah.
What about surprise or discoveries for this deck?
Yes. In the theme of the $1 store, I want to thank Ilvini for suggesting Cindervines, red-green, for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, Cindervines deals 1 damage to that player. This is a red source, so Torbran would deal an extra 2 if that's going. If there's any doubling happening, awesome. And we get to pay 1, sacrifice Cindervines, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Cindervines deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller, or more if Torbran's out.
Not bad.
Yeah.
There was also Circle of Flame.
Yeah, this is Clock. Yeah, why don't you read it? It's by Clockwork 12 found this one for us.
Yeah, Circle of Flame. I remember this card, 1 and a red for an enchantment that says whenever a creature without flying attacks you or a planeswalker you control, Circle of Flame deals 1 damage to that creature.
I mean, with Torbran out, very few creatures can get in. because
Yeah.
the ground creatures are taking 3. Any sort of doubling, again, gets ridiculous. And with pingers as defense, even if you don't have all that stuff, you can make it really awkward for your opponents if they can get 1 or 2 creatures in, but if there are a couple of hit points, health points, toughness points short of dying, the pingers can finish them off.
Not bad. Mm-hmm. That's like the red version of like propaganda /
kind of.
You know, like you pay with your creature's health.
Yes.
Cool. Neat.
Yeah, neat. Fun deck. There it is. There's the dollar store. Welcome to the $1 store. It won't be long before we take over all business.
It's cool. It's like a mashup of like a pinger deck, but with a little bit of that stormy instants and sorcery style in it as well. You know me. I love it when a deck can go in some different directions. It's great. This seems like a really fun one to see happen in front of you.
Yes.
Okay, well, we've done the surprises and discoveries, which means now it is time for the budget report.
This is where we take all of the cards and we see if they're $1, because if they're not, they don't belong.
They don't belong here, and I'm calling your manager. I would like to speak to your manager, please. This is a $1 store, and this is $1.50.
Yeah.
What's up with that dollar store?
Do you remember that when that changed? When that's like dollar plus stores now?
There's something that's $2 at the dollar store?
Yeah.
Forget it.
I mean, it's
we
still
all
a
rolled
good deal.
over on it pretty easily, though. We were like, it's still cheap.
Yeah, it's still cheap. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll buy a mop for $2.
Yeah, outraged for 5 minutes and then just like, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. We're worried about the integrity of the dollar store.
I guess this bucket of plastic wine glasses can cost $2.
Jeez.
No big deal.
Yeah. So we ran it through so as we mentioned before, if you want to check out the link for the TCGplayer link, it's in the show notes. If you buy any cards through here, that helps the show out. Thank you for that. This comes in at a low at under $50. $47, you get this whole deck. If you want to pay market price, you're looking at $96, which is on average still less than $1 per card. I know that the lands F that average up, but it's still a $1 store.
True. That's you can state that, and it's true.
Yeah. The most expensive card, as we hinted at earlier, is Seedborn Muse. It's the 3 green 2/4 where you untap all of your permanents during each other player's untap step. This is fantastic. It makes the pingers great. Like if we have any instants of sorceries before we're ready to storm out, we can cast them on other people's end steps. This card is very expensive. It's about $7 for good reason.
Yeah, it did get that recent reprint in Commander, which in the Commander set, which was very needed, and it was down even a bit lower than $7 for a while there. So like, and of course, if you just picked up your Commander deck there, you're happy to see this one in
right.
So.
Right.
Cool. Second most expensive card is Primal Amulet. I talked about this one at the top there. It's the 4-mana artifact that makes your instant sorceries cost less, then it flips into the land that lets you double them. This card is great. These cards in general are like excellent in Commander, and I'm always kind of surprised that they're not yet super expensive. Although at $5 right now, it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's so good. And Mystic Remora, obviously, it's always been a little bit pricey because it's so good at what it does. People can pay your Ristic Study tax. They don't mind paying that one, but they often can't pay the 4, so they'll just give you a few cards, counting on you not being able to keep this alive for too much longer. Yeah.
Mystic Remora, cool card. What about favorites? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, do you got a favorite?
Yes, you know me. I'm a Niv Mizzet guy all the way, so I love a Niv Mizzet, and in this case, the Perun. Blue, red. Legendary Dragon Wizard. He's a 5/5. He can't be countered, which is very cool. And then flying. And whenever you draw a card, he deals damage to any target. And whenever a player plays an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. So, and that's a player, so that includes yourself.
Right. So, I mean, doing 1 damage that he's the number 1 pinger the game knows.
Yeah,
like, this is the
true.
best pinger in the game.
Niv is known as the big pinger.
And
that's
I mean,
his basketball nickname.
The big pinger?
Like Shaq, the big cactus, the big pinger.
He we didn't talk much about Cadell, but with Niv Mizzet out, Cadell becomes amazing because you're probably going to draw a few cards. tap Cadell and casts most everything that you just drew. If you're on your Storm turn, having Niv Mizzet and Cadell out means you've probably got it.
Unreal. Yeah. And like Perun is obviously harder to cast. It's the pure colored mana going on here, but just well worth it when you can make it happen.
I agree. And my favorite card is Gelectrode. 1 blue-red for a weird. It's a 0/1, and it's a pinger. It deals 1 damage to target creature player with a tap. But whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may untap Gelectrode. This is a nice tandem. I've tested this deck out a little bit, and if you get like a Torbrand, or I mean, Jaya Ballard's in here. She's the uncommon planeswalker that makes all your red sources do 1 more. So a little Gelectrode going on. So like I'll cast a spell, I'll do 2 to you, untap it, cast another spell, 2 to you, untap it, and just like while you're kind of focusing on one player, Gelectrode can focus on another player, or just rack up those that quest for renewal in no time.
This card holds a bit of a special place for me because I remember this is one of the first tappers I ever saw, like pingers, because I used to play the old Planeswalkers, like Duel of the Planeswalkers 2013.
Yes.
And it's like a deck that like really uses Gelectrode. I remember being like, this card's awesome.
Yeah.
I get to untap it whenever I do this. Wicked.
It's true.
And it is a cool card. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Whew, there it is, $1 store.
The $1 store. You know, we had a little bit of a problem with the bootleg material, and I spoke to your managers, and honestly, they treated me with dignity and respect. And despite the fact that I found an evil world dominance plan in the depths of your basement files, I like this $1 store, and I recommend people visit it.
Okay, thank you very much. That means a lot. Word of mouth is the best thing we can ask for.
Yeah, honestly, it's just much cleaner than a lot of the other dollar stores. That's one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
The 99-cent store is not doing it for me. Come to this one. It's much better.
Yeah.
Wicked. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Remember to check out TCGplayer if you're in the United States or internationally, and get those orders in there. Use our affiliate link, which you can find in our show notes and below the video. And check out MTG Canada and wizardtower.com for our Canadian listeners, and use our code to get a discount going there. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. I think that's the Double Dragon song.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I think I can hear it now.
I think it is. Oh, no, it's Contra. Never mind.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCGplayer affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.